And although the family is painfully aware of the outrage, the sadness, and the frustration that the community is experiencing, the family is hopeful that any protests moving forward remain peaceful. But peace is only possible if this investigation is completely transparent. And while the family thanks the mayor for beginning to lead a peaceful and a thorough and a transparent investigation, the family is aware that the released portions of the body camera footage and the unreleased portions of the footage leave many questions unanswered. The unreleased portion of the body camera footage shows a police union representative arriving on the scene to protect Officer Traynor. And the family and the community want to know, who did these officers call first? Did they call an ambulance to protect an innocent civilian, or did they call a police union representative to help Officer Traynor get his story straight? Did Officer Traynor's partner activate his body camera? What about the Homeland Security camera at 3rd and M Streets? Is there any satellite footage? Because we know that national security requires our nation's capital to be fully protected at all times, especially on September the 11th. And so there is a near certainty that there is high-resolution satellite footage protecting and surveilling Washington, D.C., and the family wants to know whether that is going to be released in this case. And for those that say that Officer Traynor's excuse is that he simply forgot to turn on and to properly activate his body camera, we must require our officers to learn how to use a camera before allowing them to use a gun. The family of Terrence Sterling deserves better. This community deserves justice. Terrence Sterling deserves justice, and the family is hopeful that our governmental officials continue conducting a transparent, timely, and thorough investigation in pursuing justice for Terrence Sterling. We've got time for 1 or 2 questions, if there are any. Yes, sir.
So can you tell us, did you view the video with the family?
The family in my office viewed the footage, yes.
So did they show you more video than the 5 minutes that they released to the public?
There is more video footage that was shown to the family of Terrence Sterling and to my office than was released to the public. That video footage depicts a union representative appearing on the scene, and the family wants to know who was called first, the ambulance or the union representative. And the family is not urging the community to jump to any conclusions, but the family wants an answer to those questions.
How do you know the union representative that was on the scene?
She identified herself as a union representative.
On the scene, in the video?
Correct. Within 6 minutes of the body camera, or within 6.5 minutes of the body camera footage being activated, a union representative appeared on the scene, identified herself as a union representative, and the question is, who was called first, an ambulance or a union representative? Thank you very much.
Do you have information that the driver of the cruiser that morning also had a body camera, because they said he did not?
Well, that's the question is, did he have a body camera? And if he did not have a body camera, why was he not equipped with a body camera? There is a general order, as we know, that requires any police officer involved in any vehicle pursuit to activate his body camera. So there is a question as to whether this was a vehicle pursuit. If so, why were they pursuing Mr. Sterling? There's no evidence that he was a felon, and we know that we cannot pursue anyone in the District of Columbia for a simple traffic violation. So why was he being pursued? If he was being pursued, was the body camera footage activated by the pursuing officer? Yes.
In your meeting with the police, did they mention anything to you other than showing the video? Did they talk to you at all about the investigation?
Well, they were very forthcoming with the video footage. We didn't get more information at this juncture. We are hoping for more information, but they were very forthcoming with this body camera footage so far.
What do you make of the fact that 2 witnesses who were on the scene have a different account than the police gave?
Well, right now, there's a very legitimate question as to what evidence was in that car. The witnesses, especially the eyewitness that saw this from the very beginning, says that an officer trainer, fired his gun from inside of his police cruiser. Were there any shell casings in that cruiser? Is there any damage to that cruiser indicating that a gun was fired in that cruiser? These are additional questions that the family would like to see answered.
Do you know how many times Mr. Sterling was shot?
Well, right now we know that there was there were wounds to his back and to his neck. The next questions are, was there an entry wound, an exit wound? Were there two different wounds? We don't know the answer to those questions at this moment.
Are you conducting your own autopsy?
We have not conducted our own autopsy.
It took
You
6.5
plan to?
minutes for the union rep to arrive. How long would it take for the ambulance to arrive?
That's the question. We want to know how long it took the ambulance to arrive and who was called first, the union rep or the ambulance. What are we prioritizing? Are we prioritizing the safety of innocent civilians, or are we prioritizing making sure officers are able to get their story straight with a union representative?
Is it possible to hear from one of the Sterling family members and just their thoughts on what's going on?
The family is in the process of grieving. They recently saw this footage, which has reopened the wound. They're still seeking answers. So right now is not the time. The family is not right now taking any questions.
What can you tell me about Mr. Sterling, what his life was like and what he was up to in his city over there?
Last question, and what we can say is that Mr. Sterling was certainly not, it didn't appear that Mr. Sterling was armed. It appears that he was killed unlawfully, unjustifiably, and there's a legitimate question as to where that officer was seated and where he was when he fired the fatal shot that killed Mr. Sterling. Thank you. Thank you very much.
You plan on civil suit?
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Can you tell us who